the joy of when their family say, well, thank you. You saved my daughter. You saved my grandchild. Thank you for getting my daughter, my grandchildren off the street. I said, you can't thank me. I didn't do it. Only thing I did is you needed support.
Tulsa Talks is the podcast that is inspiring people to have everyday meaningful conversations to gain perspective and help the world.
Welcome to Tulsa Talks. We have Kelvin Batten with us today. He's going to talk about veterans and homelessness. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. Veterans and homelessness, that just doesn't make any sense. People that have served our country to keep our country secure and safe actually have a homeless issue.
Yes.
What does that look like?
I used to be with a group here that was we called it a stand down. And what it was is what we did that is for homeless veterans. And the purpose of it was, one, to see how many homeless veterans was out there. A lot of females is not being counted. We're always counting the men, but there's a lot of females out here who's homeless, veterans. Is some of it from me working with, right now I work with a lot of veterans, homeless as well. I work with homeless people who are not veterans. And I talked to one last week, and this was unique to me. What the young man told me, I said, well, you're a veteran. There's homes out here for you that you can go into. There's programs out here that we can help you with to get you off the street. Help you find a job. I said, I can do that. I said, that's what my business is. I was talking to him when I was outside. And what the young man told me, he goes, this is the first time in my life that I control my own destiny. He said, I have no bills. I owe nobody nothing. He says, I prefer to be homeless.
I have met homeless people that want to be homeless because they are free of bills.
Right.
And the byproduct of not having bills is not having a normal life, or what we consider normal life.
Right.
Did he expound on that at all as far as his walk?
Well, part of what it was is just talking with him and working with mental illness. Just talking to him, he had something that was bothering him. It's a purpose, it's a reason for this. So what I did is I told him, I said, well, why don't I just give you my card?
And your business card, so he can give you a call someday?
I said, give me a call. I said, I'm right in this building right here. Just come to the 4th floor, room 401, and just say, Kelvin needs to see me. That's all you need to say. And I said, whatever I'm doing, I'll stop and I'll talk to you. Maybe a week later, he came up. And he has a bank account. He is on disability from the military. So he has the money. But somewhere in his mind, he talked about Afghanistan, being in Afghanistan, things that he saw there. And when you look at our homeless community across the board, there's mental illnesses out there.
Mental illness and drug abuse.
Mental illness and drug abuse. More mental illness, which is causing the drug abuse.
That's right.
Because what they become is they become self-medicated.
Yep.
And they think that, okay, I'll try this. I work with crack addicts, different type of drug use, and just asking them, because I'm not a drug user. So I said, well, what happened? And everyone has a story.
Do those stories somewhat align as far as a downward spiral to that situation?
Yes. Give you an example. A young lady who worked over at, it's now OU Medical Center. It used to be Tulsa Regional. I think that's what it was before it became this. And this young lady was a nurse. She was an LPN, and she was a nurse. She lived out on the north side. They had, the problem that they had is they had a fire at their home. Husband, 2 children, bars couldn't open up that was on the windows. So, of course, she lost her family.
Oh, my God.
So when you lose something like that, counseling should have came then. Well, counseling didn't come. So the alcohol came.
Yeah.
Well, the alcohol didn't work, so let's go a little harder.
Yeah. Deadening the pain.
Right. And what she told me, she said, the bad part about it, she says, when you are on meth or on crack, the first experience is the experience of your life. And you do it again because you're looking for that experience that's never going to happen again.
Almost like winning at the casino, big time, first time you ever go to the casino.
You win that first time, you'll be back tomorrow.
That's right.
And that's what,
sad.
And
Very
that's
sad.
And that's really sad. So with this young lady, I worked with her. She used to call me up like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm getting ready to kill myself. I'm going to go lay on a train track. I'm going to do this. Well, I had to go.
At least she was reaching out.
Right. But each time I had to go, even though I know when I go, once we talk, she's going to stop. But what happened if the day I went that I didn't go? And
people need people.
Yeah. And the joy that I get out of doing this and working with homeless, especially our veterans, is the joy of when their families say, well, thank you. You saved my daughter. You saved my grandchild. Thank you for getting my daughter, my grandchildren off the street. I said, you can't thank me. I didn't do it. Only thing I did is you needed support. I'm not a counselor. I'm a support. That's what our job is. And I can say 85% of the people I try to work with myself. And the reason why I do this is because as a veteran, 19 and a half years, I can say I understand.
Been there,
did that. A lot of our veterans have PTSD is why they're out there on the street. People say, oh, well, they were weak. No, it's things that you see over there in combat that you're not going to see out here on the street.
Yeah, you don't know how weak you don't know how weak or how strong somebody is until you step into their shoes.
Right. Until you step into their shoes. That's why I don't believe that the VA and other places are sending people to go see psychiatrists. I don't care what type of education you have. This is my opinion. If you've never been in combat, how are you going to tell someone? How do you know how I'm feeling?
Yeah.
That's a situation that someone has to be there to understand it.
Yeah. We have a phrase, the phrase is equipped to love. Mm-hmm. If you've not been through that hardship, you cannot relate to that individual. If you can't relate to that individual, then how are you going to help that individual?
Yeah, that goes back to jobs. Something that I was talking about earlier is when you talk about jobs and leadership and management and all that, it all goes back to the same skill. You know, for the homeless people, what I do with the veterans is I help them with resumes. I teach them I take their job experience and elaborate on what they've done. For the military, you're talking about, they have a program I know in the Army is called ACAP. And what that program does is it helps bring people from civilian military life back into civilian world. Because trust me, they're two different worlds.
Yeah.
When I retired out the military, I had to pack up everything I had to get the concept out of my mind that I'm just leaving a job, because that was my life. I was in the military starting at 18 years old. Then I turned 30-something years old, and here I am.
Yeah, over half of your life at that time had been spent in the military.
So I can kind of relate. I've always been a person to want to help people. So working with our homeless is finding mental health facilities that can help for those who have those problems. There are people who just financially they can't find a job or bad luck. Now, I have met people. I met a young lady with 2 kids. We have a water fountain on the corner of Boston and 7th Street. And the kids was out there taking their little playing in the water fountain. So, of course, me and my self, I go up to this lady and I says, your kids shouldn't be playing in this. Or they should really be in school. I says, anything? I said, are you homeless? Or you need a job or anything like that? The lady says, yes, I'm homeless. I said, what happened? And of course, she lost her job. She has no family that would help her. So she just have her and her kids, and she's struggling.
Yeah.
Now the young lady has a job, helped her get a job, and now she's working, kids back in school. And that's the thing, but it's not thanks to me. This is when you're working with homeless, working with our veterans, a lot of it is listening. A lot of it is listening, need people to vent to. Some of them know there's resources out there, but they need to have someone to hold their hand once they hit.
Right, yeah. Walk them through the process.
Yeah, walk them through the process and know that if you go there, it's okay to make a mistake. It's okay to fail. That's okay. It's okay to say you're homeless.
Yeah.
It's okay to say I have a problem if it's mental or not mental.
Yeah. Or with drugs.
Right. Everyone has their own personal problems, just how you deal with it.
Yeah.
Some people need that helping hand, and that's what my company is, and that's who I am. I'm that helping hand.
I propose that all people need help.
Yes.
And the way that we can get help is by having a community and being a part of a community to help people. I had a guy in here a few months ago on a podcast, and he was saying that about 6 years ago, his mom and his daughter died in the same year.
Wow.
But he didn't have a community, and nobody asked him how he was. I didn't know him at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But life without community, without a supporting, loving community is brutal. Mm-hmm. It's hard enough.
Right.
Without, it's hard enough with a community. We all have to live inside ourselves, helping each other. But without that support system, it can be devastating, and anybody can land on the streets.
Yes.
Or in jail.
Yeah.
Or on drugs.
Yeah, you don't never please, and I tell people this all the time, is don't turn your nose up to them. Even the people who's on the corner, trying to get money, the homeless people's on the corner. Now, some people, that's their job.
That's right. And make reasonably good money, probably better money than working by the hour.
Yes, they make some pretty decent money. But, it's sad when you see children or you see elderly. I'm beginning to see more elderly homeless people. If you look at it in the stores, the McDonald's, the Burger King, now you're seeing grandma and grandpa up in there working. Because this new generation, they're living their life, but they need to look at the dream and look forward. Or one day they may be seeing me.
Yeah, and you were talking about financial responsibility and taking care of yourself today and having a future. Mm-hmm. And some people do that and plan, and then something happens because they make a mistake that can be life-altering financially. Mm-hmm. It can happen. But where is your balance with that, and how do you think that might have helped people not become homeless? If you are, because you just talked about financial responsibility. Yeah,
financial responsibility is something that I work with. There was some training I was doing in a course, which now I'm going to start doing seminars, which would be called financial wealth. And the thing about financial wealth is there's not a set age to say that I should have saved.
Yeah.
If you wake up tomorrow morning and you're 37, you go, wow. Then you start saving then.
Right. Yeah. Now is the day.
Now is the day. What people have to do is stop looking at yesterday. Yesterday can't be replaced. Yesterday, you learn from it so you don't do the same thing today. That's what yesterday's all about.
Right.
So financial wealth, part of what we're teaching is investments. How do you invest your money? Understand what stocks are. Understand what crypto is. People right now don't understand crypto and they think it's a joke. Right now is a good time for a lot of people to be wealthier than they think they will be within the next years or so dealing with cryptocurrency. We have a president that believes in cryptocurrency. For our homeless people, back to the question you asked me, for our homeless people, finances have put people on the street. And it's not that it can't happen. I'll give you a little story. I used to be the director of the post office, one of the post office call centers in Kansas years ago. But working there in Kansas, most of my employees were $8 an hour employees. And how do you survive off of that? I have 2 employees who was homeless. And in my mind, I've never been homeless, so I don't understand. So, but working around homeless for the 20 years I've been doing this, working with different homeless people, I'm learning so much more from them that can help me with others. Other resources that I didn't know out there. But when you start talking about community and finances earlier too, the community, they have their own community.
The homeless has their own community.
They have their own community. And they take care of themselves, believe it or not.
Each other.
Yes. Today I was listening to the mayor talk. He talks on KRMG every Monday morning. And he was talking about the homeless. He was talking about they have homeless camps now.
Sure.
They're making camps in the woods. There was one on the corner of 81st and Mingo. And they came and cleaned that out.
Dispersed them. Where did they go?
Now, those homeless people just went to go to, there's so many different areas. They just leave from one and go to the next one.
That's what I'm talking about.
And so, but I understand that you just can't just live anywhere, pick up in Homestead in the middle of the woods. It's no telling what could happen if you had to solve the trash that came out of there.
Yeah.
That's where the issues are.
Right. Yeah. People
Safety
not taking
and health,
care of their environment.
They're not taking care of their environment. I mean, it was baskets they were brought out. They had to end up bringing dump trucks out there to lift and take stuff away. But again, our mayor, what he's doing right now is trying to come up with a solution, and he has a committee that's working on what we can do for our homeless here in Tulsa.
Yeah, somebody told me they were already building some tiny homes.
Yes. They're building some here in Tulsa. I'm not positive where they are. They're building tiny homes. But what I wanted to do was to sit and try to find an old hotel, a small hotel, and help out the homeless. But part of the program could be a program with talking about employment. A certain thing, the criteria is for you to stay here. Yeah. You know, you have to go through this training. We'll help you get a job, and you need to stay on the job.
You got to save a certain
amount of money.
We
help you save a percentage of what you make. During the same time, here we go back to financial wealth again, teaching you about investments. Young people now are getting stuck on credit cards. They got more credit card bills is higher than most house payments.
Yeah, paying 20%.
29%, you're right.
And instead of making 10%.
Right.
So that's a 30% spread on income.
Exactly.
Instead of making 10%, you're paying 20 or 30%. So you're 30 or 40% differentiated per year, which every 2 years you would double your money at that rate, basically 2.5 years, you would double your money in your pocket with that spread of interest rates.
Right. So, you know, what I'm trying to do for our homeless and going out speaking with them is for those who want to get off the street, there are programs here in Tulsa. We don't have enough place for people, like when it was cold outside. A lot of people didn't have places to go. The day center, the day center only can hold but so many people.
Yeah.
John 3:16 can only hold but so many people.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to go to David L. Moss every Thursday evening to talk to people and inspire them, encourage them. And I actually, during the cold nights, saw several people come in and turn themselves in trying to get a bed. And they were rejected because they had nothing against them. But they wanted to spend the night in David L. Moss, or maybe several nights in David L. Moss County Jail, so that they didn't have to find a place outside, so maybe they wouldn't freeze to death.
Right. Yeah,
Sad shape.
I think we had one this year here in Tulsa that froze to death. That hit the news that I know of. Yeah. But homelessness is a serious epidemic, I call it. And we, as just humans, need to help people.
How do we help?
The way we can help is, one, wintertime, coats. You see people out there with no coats. Give them coats. Gloves, hats. I used to drive around under the bridges. A lot of people stay up under the bridges, and I used to drive around with cocoa, which my wife told me I was crazy. She said, what if someone knocked you upside the head? It's never supposed to happen. I'm not crazy either. I know the difference of a place that seems safe. If it didn't seem safe and my gut told me it wasn't right, no, I didn't stop. But the areas that my gut told me, gave out blankets, hats, scarves, gloves, shoes. Think of the time you clean out your closet. Go out there and give it. I just gave away, my wife cleaned out her closet, and I just gave one lady just a whole bag of clothes. I just gave her a bag of clothes. I asked her, did she need any? So I told the wife, I said, hey, I got a couple people who need some clothes. So I gave them clothes, gave some of my clothes away.
So you're connected to the homeless community here in town? Somewhat?
Somewhat, yes, I am.
And you're connected somewhat to some of these other agencies?
Yes.
And how do you find the veterans, the homeless veterans?
Believe it or not, it's no set way to go out here and find homeless veterans. The way we found them last time, like I was telling you, we had a thing, we did a program called Stand Down. It was right by First Baptist Church, downtown Tulsa by the bus station. We had doctors, barbers, different people who donated clothes and things like that, money. And what we did is the homeless people could come through. And that way, as they came through, we counted the veterans, who was veterans. They got haircuts, seen by medical doctors. Dentist was there. These are people who volunteer. And they did that here in Tulsa as Sapulpa and in Muskogee.
How do you get resourced to be able to do this? How do you make money? What is your business? What is your life?
Okay, part of my company is a nonprofit.
Okay.
And some money comes in by donations. Some services I do, if you don't have the money, it's free. I'm going to help you. I'm not going to turn anybody away. That's just how it works. And people ask me, well, how do you survive like that? Well, I have other things I do within my business that help. If this is something I didn't want to do, I wouldn't have went forward with it. But even going out here to find veterans is very hard on my part, I can say. But I find out because I go out there and I talk to the homeless. I used to smoke cigarettes, so when you go out there, when I'm at work and I go out there, it's the same ones that's out there every day. You talk to them, they get to know you, you get to know them. And I always tell them, if you need something, I'm only upstairs. And some of them come up there just to talk. Then I'm talking to them, how can you be drunk at 8 o'clock in the morning? Well, I tried to help one guy go through rehab for drug and alcohol abuse. He got out, went back home to his wife, lasted about 3 weeks. Then he was drunk again. And he preferred to live on the street. And he had a wife and he had a place to live.
What a painful life.
So when you're talking to homeless, it's just so many, it's hard to be very detailed on a lot of things, like the veterans I work with. It's just if I came across some veterans. But if you call some of the places like 211 and things like that and you need veterans help, they'll give you my number anyway. So that's how a lot of ways I get is through the same agencies that I support and send people to me also.
Okay.
Resumes, helping people start to find jobs, start their own business.
Yeah. Yeah. It's easier for an ex-felon to start their own business than it is for them to get a job. It's easier sometimes for veterans with a shaded background of employment durations or whatever, when they get cleaned up, to prove themselves again. So it might be easier for them to start their own business than to get a job.
For individuals who come out of incarceration or people who are felons, is based on what the felons are. There's a lot of people who hire felons out here.
Okay.
And so that part's not the issue unless it dealt with finances. Then the people know that you work in the kitchen somewhere. We work in the register. That wouldn't even be a smart move. But there are people who will hire felons. But depending on the person's felon is what I advise to them. Either one, we go out here and look for a job, or two, hey, you can start a lawnmower business. You can start a car wash business. You have different agencies out here like TEDC, Tulsa Economic and Development Group, that can help you financially, help you find buildings that you need, help you get started. You know, there's resources out here. You have places like the Oklahoma Food Bank. You have Iron Gate that feed people. You know, I mean, we have a lot of resources here that the previous mayor put in place, Mayor Taylor put in place, and now our new mayor is putting in place. But I really try to match up from what I've been through working with individuals on, if I just say, man, it's going to be hard for you to get a job. Yeah. First, I always ask, how much money are you looking to make? What do you need?
Yeah, yeah.
Now, you're a felon who robbed a bank or robbed someone, grand larceny, and you're telling me you're trying to make $15, $16 an hour. We can hang that up. It's not happening.
Yeah. What's your company name?
My company's name is Oklahoma Center of Empowerment. Our website is ocoe.org. And I'll tell you a little bit about who I am, things that our organization do. What we do at Oklahoma Center of Empowerment, we work with individuals with intellectual disabilities. We help them find jobs, help them go into vocational areas. We have some that are nonverbal individuals who can't take care of themselves. And what we do is we give job coaches or habilitation training specialists that go there and work with those individuals. We work with the homeless, people coming out of incarceration, helping them find jobs, helping them find places to live, helping them start their own business. Well, there's programs that people need that we work with to help individuals. The programs that we have to help people is, excuse me for that. There's programs that we have right now, like workshops that I usually have sometimes. It's workshops in helping people start jobs. But there's a lot of programs out here that people need when we start talking about over at Iron Gate, they have different programs. John 3:16 have programs for the homeless. But one thing that I just try to do is my company is just full of, my wife always asks me, she says, why do you keep adding more and more things? What I wanted was a one-stop shop. That was the whole purpose of when the company first started and moved here in 2005. So we've been in business almost 20 years here in Tulsa. 20 good years. A lot of rough times, but good years. But the joy of our company is we're people first. We know that everyone should have a second chance. For the people who's been incarcerated, who's homeless, if they can't find a job and you don't hire them, it may be your house next. You know, that's important. You have our vets that went and served our country, seen things that most people would probably never see in their life, 18, 19 years old. And they come back here with PTSD, and then they become self-medicators. Then that's where the drugs come in.
Sure. Yeah.
And what I try to do is nobody is a stranger to me. I know, like when we first met, we spoke and we talked as if we knew each other for years. I just think everyone is interesting in what they do in life. And what I wanted our company to be is a one-stop shop that, okay, you're looking for a job. You're looking for housing. I want to start my business. Where do I go? How do I start it? What direction do I go? Well, there's services out there. A lot of services that I do is directing people to the right services. For example, I've had a couple people to call for death benefits for a loved one. Well, what I do is I send them over to Veterans of Foreign Wars over there on 6th Street, the VFW.
Yeah.
I send people over there because they have a agent over there that works with people who's lost a loved one, and you're trying to work on survivor benefits and different things like that. But we have a lot of good organization. But one thing I can say when we start talking about veterans is when I came here in 2005, Tulsa wasn't the most veteran-friendly place. But now you see them doing just more and more and more for veterans, which I really appreciate too. You know, you have our VFWs doing things. You have the American Legion.
Folds of Honor.
Yeah, the Folds of Honor.
Big deal up there in Owasso.
Yeah, so, you know, it's great people out here doing things for our veterans, but there's just so much more that the government need to do for our veterans. You know, you go to combat and you come back, you're forgotten. You know, you have awards and everything. When I got out the military, I was just proud of my awards, but they mean nothing in the civilian world. So basically what you're doing is you're reprogramming yourself to live in a whole different world.
Yeah.
The military, we have our rules. You live on a military base, you have your rules.
Yeah, a certain way of living.
And your wife understands that. Your spouse understands that too. So hats off need to really go more to the spouses, the men and the women who are married to military people. Hats off to them, because they're the ones who's raising the kids when you're not there. They're the ones when Johnny fell down on the bicycle and had his first birthday that you couldn't make it to. Your anniversary, you've missed already about 4 of them already. Because when Uncle Sam speaks, you go.
Yeah, yeah.
So what I wanted to do when I opened up this company was, and the reason why I keep adding things to it is because it's things that I see. It's sitting and just talking to people like you're talking to me right now. And there's so many things I did that they'll give me ideas of what I can do. You know, well, you know, there's nothing out here to serve us on this. So I try to research, is that wise for me? Is it economical for me? Should I do it?
Yeah.
And that's all I want to do is just be a helping hand. My employees, they're the same way. They know that each client who comes to us is important.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys are guides with
Yes.
tools
Yes.
and connections.
Yes.
And you have positioned yourself here in Tulsa
Yes.
to help veterans and others have a different life by leading them in a direction and introducing them to the community that can help them.
Right.
And we're so grateful that you and your people are here doing what they do. At the Complete Peace Movement, our slogan is, I am one piece. You exude that with being the peace that you are connecting others with help. And we appreciate you coming to Tulsa Talks today.
Thank you.
Any of you guys need to have help like Kelvin and his team can offer, we will have their website on the descriptions. Thank you for tuning in. May you be the peace that you've designed to be.
We are here to help you discover or develop your passions, how you can use them, and why you exist. How can we help you help others better?